forgive you. Jesus said I wouldn't be sure. I forgive you for all them little things. I pray for you. Cause I done did a whole lot of sinning, ran around with lots of women, never care who I offended, though I do got good intentions. I know one day we gon' find a way. So forgive you from all them little things. I pray for you. I forgive you, bully. I forgive you, teachers said I wouldn't be sure. I forgive you for all them little things. I pray for you. Cause I done did a whole lot of sinning, ran around with lots of women, never care who I offended, though I do got good intentions. I know one day we gon' find a way. So this time, I'm gonna live the life. Put my cards on the table. This is all of me. I'm begging for forgiveness from my best friend. Shouldn't you love as a weapon? It's coming from the bottom of my heart. Pray for me. Forgive me, mother. Please forgive me, sister. Can you find forgiveness in your heart? And pray for me. Cause I done did a whole lot of sinning, ran around with lots of women, never care who I offended, though I do got good intentions. You know, one day we gon' find a way. So this time, I'm gonna live the life. Put my cards on the table. This is all of me. Good job, fellas.
Without forgiveness, we as the descendants of slaves wouldn't have been able to persevere. Forgiveness breaks the shackles.
Forgiveness is a strength, and I learned that from an Arabic phrase, La hawla quwwata illa billah. Quwwa being strength. There is no might and no power except with God.
Forgiveness, why? To free yourself most of all. Allow you to move without hang-ups. Forgive to just let go. Forgive to grow. Forgive and watch your spirit flow free. Forgive and release the other person. You don't have to talk or deal with them. Just forgive them. And most of all, forgive yourself. Peace will flow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our special episode of the Black Book Art and Finance Fair. We're schmingling, baby. We are here schmingling. We schmingling, baby. We have the one and only Faith Moore McKinney. She is an author and a media personality and a media consultant. And Faith wrote a book that it talks about schmoozing and mingling, which becomes schmingling. And it is the art of being well connected through blatant self-promotion. And I mean, I think that's good. That's it. We are always trying to hype ourselves, going over here, like, hey, look at me. I can do that. I can do that. So let's, this is like, good subject. So Friday night after work, we get a chance to wind down and just have some fun and learn how to schmingle, baby. So I see put the here we go. Got a little more light on me. There we go. And so without any further ado, I am going to introduce everyone to Faith McKinney.
Hello, 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 Jacqueline. Thank you so much for having me today. And thank you everybody in the audience for joining us. You know, showing up is most of the, 90% of it is showing up, your success. And so, when I wrote Schmingling, it's because I showed up and I saw results. And that's really what I wrote about. It's not really how much it's really who knows you and who knows what you know. But when you show up, that's when you get those opportunities to let the people who can make those decisions and change your life, let them know who you are and what you do and build those relationships. So I thank you so much
awesome.
for yes. I mean, Jacqueline, you're doing so much and you've done so much throughout the years. You've blessed my life. Allowing me to meet so many amazing people from across the country. People are doing some huge things that I would have never known about were it not for you. So I'm really appreciative.
Well, Faith, thank you. But I'm appreciative of you. So just to let everybody know, Faith, we had a show called Beyond Talk on Master Griot Radio. And Faith hosted that show for 2 years. And at first she thought she came on as a co-host and everything. And the co-host left, but she stayed. That's what she's about, showing up. And yeah, and I really feel that's my gift, that I'm blessed with people. I mean, I think everybody has something special about them, something I admire, something that keeps me in awe. And I'm just constantly meeting these people. So as a person who loves marketing, I just feel it's my mission to share it. So I think that's the biggest thing. People over here don't understand what is going on over here. And we had these really siloed views. And I was like, wow, if you just only knew. If you just only knew. So
that's really true. And even in organizations, and since many of us or most of us have been home, for an entire year, we haven't really had the chance to get out and to meet new people and to, find new opportunities. Really, we were just trying to keep our heads above water. But now, there's a little hope, or at least we're getting used to this new world that we're living in. And so we can adapt to it. We're adapting to Zoom. We're adapting to, the backgrounds, we're adapting to everything that comes with it. But we are also able to meet more people and connect with more people all over the world. And so in my book, you were talking about schmingling. Let me hold this up a little bit. Schmingling, the art of being well connected through blatant self-promotion. Yeah. And so, even when we are all working from home, you can even make international connections. You can speak to people all over the world at the same time without having to leave your home. And this has been a real blessing to me. I've been able to speak to groups and organizations that I would never have been able to approach prior to this, or I didn't think I would have even. But because of the nature of virtual meetings, I'm able to speak and I'm able to have multiple meetings, in the same day, and it's really made a difference. And I don't know if you have realized, but now businesses and organizations are a lot of people working remote. And so how do you stand out when you're working remote? How do you get that image and that exposure and seen by those decision makers, by the C-suite, by the CEOs and the people that make the decisions on your career? So one of the things too, we said showing up, we said, of course you want to perform your job, But then also you want to also be available for those opportunities, or create an opportunity for yourself within the company to stand out. And so this is really what I'm talking about to companies, to businesses all over the world, people who want to be able to stand out. It's all about personal brand now. It's all about the personal brand. No longer can we rely on, going to, shake hands and work belly to belly. There's none of that, at least not for the next foreseeable future, near foreseeable future. So, being able to, get that pie, we call pie, PIE, that's performance, image, and exposure. And those are the ingredients that you need to be seen in front of, or to be seen to advance in your career. And so, getting pie online is now easier than ever. You still want to make sure that you are performing your job at a top level, but then you want to see how you can get that image. You always are on an interview. This is the thing, whenever you're going to a Zoom meeting for work, you're at an interview. Don't think that you're at an interview when you go to be interviewed. No, you're being interviewed the moment you step in the door, period. And so that's how you get that image part of your pie. And then for the exposure, that's taking on different positions and different tasks, that's volunteering, that's sending exposure, getting exposure on maybe LinkedIn, sharing content that maybe your CEOs or owners are sharing, and contributing that way. That's that exposure. So pie is it. That pie part of Schmingling is really has been working for me, and it's been working for so many others. And I know leaders of Fortune 100 companies are preaching pie.
Yeah, well, that's really awesome. I didn't even think about that, because you're working remotely, how do you stand out? And how do you make those further connections, especially depending on the nature of your job? Now, sometimes when you're on teams, and if the nature of your job requires that you interact with several people, that's different. But what happens if your nature of your job just doesn't necessarily cause you to do much interaction, maybe then just to report to one person or so?
Well, that's the key.
I never even.
Yeah. A lot. It is, working remotely is you're sort of siloed. You're here by yourself. You got your own thoughts. You're really not thinking about how other people are affected by your decisions, by your actions. But many times you're working with a team of other people, maybe not, people you may not even see, but you do want to make an impression on the people that can make the decisions. How are you leaving an impression on people? Even the people within your team, if you're working remotely, they may have connections. I know you work in media, and media is a really tight-knit community, because if you are on-air talent, you often need an engineer to help run the things, to put things up on air online, or you need a lighting person, or you need a makeup artist. Well, who do you call? You call the people that you know. You call the people that you work with. You call the people who can do the job, and who are reliable, who can are easy to work with. You're not wanting to call somebody who's hard to work with. You're going to call somebody who you like working with. So that know, like, and trust is still in effect with pie, and in effect with remote working. So it's just an extension of the schmingling.
Yeah, so we learn pie, know, like, and trust. I mean, I am really learning. And and what you say, I mean, that is how I put when I said I wanted to do this, the Black Book Art and Finance Fair. I said I'm really going to do it as a love project. So I said I really don't have it to, it would be super overwhelming if I just opened it up, had to choose all these different authors and things like that. I said, let me just first start out with the core people who I know. I know the quality of what they can deliver. I know, I can work with them. Like everything you just said, that's just what I thought. And I said, let me first use this platform. And now, and we'll create the shell, the foundation, and then that's something I can build on. But at first, let me, this way, I know what it is. So I said, who are those people I know that, do a quality presentation, has something interesting to share and that I can depend on to show up. And like, wow, that was my exact thought when I put it together.
Absolutely. Well,
Because
yeah, I mean,
a
of
whole list of
course.
authers. Yeah.
And
I even had one
that
author.
is your gift. That's your gift, Jacqueline. I mean, so my gift is totally different, but with you and that's why it's great to know you, because one, you have you're a big picture thinker. You think outside of the box. And then two, you bring in the people that you know. You have a huge network of people that you can tap into to accomplish certain you put events on, and you have this huge network of people that you tap into to get the work done, the work that you want done. And so when let's say you're an introvert. So I consider myself to be an introvert, somebody who is really not necessarily an outgoing, but I like it, but it's kind of draining. And so that's kind of like the definition of an introvert. An extrovert is a person who gets energy from going out and being around people. I get energy when I'm kind of at home and I store up my energy. And then when I go out, then I expend the energy back out.
Yeah.
But and then shy people who don't really want to talk to people, period. So I have a little bit of mix of that. But even so, it's easy. It's good to know people like you, Jacqueline, because you are the person, you're like the glue, you're the hub. And if I was in need of something, I would say, hey, Jacqueline, do you know somebody who can do this, this, or this? And you would have them at the ready. And so that is, that's a blessing to have people like you in our lives. And that is part of schmingling. It's schmoozing and mingling. And you have to know what I can do. You have to know, my demeanor, my personality, and you have to know if I'd be a good fit for that project before you put your name on the line and recommend me. That's that know, like, and trust. And so true. Yeah, that your gift is different. You're the hub of different projects. And so you're the one that brings people together. You're the organizer, you're the big picture thinker, and you bring all the pieces, the parts, and the people together and because of you, we get exposure. We are exposed to so many other people, and therefore we get other opportunities. And so that it really is, schmingling at its best. You know who I am. I know, and you know what I can do, and you recommend me to other projects, and I get the exposure, and that's schmingling.
Showing up. Real interesting. Yeah, I never thought of it. In the fullness of how you explain it. Now, I just want to backpedal for just a quick moment, because I know you, but the world does not necessarily know you. And so I do want to take a moment for you to just, tell us, who's Faith McKinney? And we know your claim to fame, but just, who's the person? Who are you? Where'd you grow up? Where you live? And, what got you, to this stage, ready to write a book and,
Yeah. Thanks. So I'm born and raised, I'm a Hoosier. So a Hoosier is a person who's from Indiana, and a person who claims being from Indiana. So I am born and raised. My family's all here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Went to public schools here, and I raised my family here. So you know, what I think something magic happens at the age of 8. When people turn 8 years old, it seems like there's something inside of them that kind of a spark that says, oh, this is what I want to do, or oh, this is you know, really driving me. And so when I was about 8 years old, I was a shy introvert, but I didn't really want to be. Mm-hmm. And I would notice all the popular girls and see how they would handle conversations with other people, see how the boys would talk to them, and kind of study them even at the age of 8 years old, because I knew that if they could do it, I could do it too. I could have whatever that was that they had to be so attractive to attract people to them, that I could incorporate that into myself. So I studied the way they walked, the way they talked, the way they dressed. I studied all of these things. And then there was another part of it though, you know, because I went to the same grade school for a few years, people treated me a certain way. So, you know, when you go to your old neighborhood, when people come out of prison, they say, don't go back to the old neighborhood because you go back into the same mentality, the same environment, and people will treat you the same. Well, that was sort of like, not that I was in prison, but I was in grade school, and people would treat me the same. So as I grew up, I went from 8th grade, we were bused to a township or a suburban school. And I said, this is my chance to change my whole personality so that most of the people won't know me from before, so that I can create my own my own persona, so I can be somebody else without other people influencing that. So with that, I began to achieve, you know, I began to run for student council, different activities that I didn't do before. I just I just expanded my network, and I learned, okay, well, this is working and this is not working, but I wanted to study other people. You know, after high school, what were people going to school for in college? What did they want to do? How did they know they want to do it? And then how after college, you know, what are they working on? How do they get to these organizations? How do they get to these cliques? You know, and it's just, I just love it. I guess it's anthropology, but I love the study of people and what makes them tick and what makes them attractive to other people. And so then we come up to 2008 or 2009, you have, you know, the Kardashians. And I'm like, oh, wow, they don't do anything really, but they are so attractive. So what is it that makes them so captivating? And so I said, man, okay, well, there were so many different events that happened before they got on television. You know, they had so many, you know, the father, the husband, the mother, and then all the characters and the personalities came together. It was sort of like a perfect storm. They wouldn't necessarily find my life so exciting because, you know, I don't have somebody like a Bruce Jenner or an OJ in my life. So there's nothing that people can relate to. But since I don't, and most people don't, how can we create that? What is it that we can do to kind of create that that attractive, that magnetism? How can we create the credibility? And so I figured out, oh, wait a minute. A lot of people borrow credibility from other people. So it's like an implied endorsement. And you know how they do that? They do that by photographs. So, you know, when people go, business leaders go to the White House, they should go to the White House and they would take pictures with the president, and they would pay $10,000 a plate just to go to have dinner and get their picture with the president. Well, why do they do that? Because having the picture with a president or a person who has a level of credibility and notoriety and fame often lends you a bit of that notoriety and fame as well, and credibility. So it's like an implied endorsement. If he's going to stand there and you're standing there in the same place, it's like, oh, well, if he's here and you're there too, you must be similar in power or stature So that's an implied endorsement. And so when I realized that, I said, okay, so how do I get an implied endorsement? I'm in Indiana, in Indianapolis. It's not Chicago. It's not New York. It's not California, LA. It's not like celebrities are just running around the streets. So how do I get to a celebrity? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And so then I said, well, how do I get to be close to celebrities? Well, I will have to maybe interview them. How do I get pictures? Where are they? And so, in colleges, a lot of times, or sororities will bring in, they'll bring in celebrities or speakers, and sometimes you'll be able to get access to them. Now, you have to make sure that you are, really nice to the organizer, and because they're responsible for these celebrities. They don't want anybody to mess up their relationship with them, because trust me, celebrities talk to each other. They really do. So you want to make sure that all of their interactions, all of their experience, the celebrities' experiences are good. And so so I figured out how to connect with people who brought in celebrities. And it just so happened I met a camera guy for an online magazine here in Indianapolis, and he needed somebody to do on-air talent. And I said, I can do that. I've been taking speaking lessons. I've been preparing since I was 8. So I said, I can do it. And so I started, I can do it. I started with a local fashion show. It's a really high profile fashion show here in Indianapolis. I started interviewing people there. And then I worked to lots of entertainers here in Indianapolis and business leaders. And then finally, I started to connect with people who brought in celebrities. And the people like Susan Taylor of Essence Magazine, Travis Smiley, Michael Eric Dyson, even let's see.
So how'd you connect with those people?
So I had to connect with the organizer of a group or an organization here in Indiana. It's called Stewart Speakers. And I had to work on that relationship for a long, long, long time. But finally I said, hey, would it be okay if I interviewed your guests? Because one, they want more media. They want more they want more visibility for their guests. They want, they have people come to line up to do interviews. They love that. So I was able to get interviews with them. And, I had no idea what really I was doing. In fact, when my biggest interview was with Dan Rather. You remember Dan Rather? He used to be on CBS News.
Yeah, Dan Rather.
Yes. Yep. I had no idea
Wow.
what I was doing, but that was like, okay. So, I had worked my way up, and with that implied endorsement, you start at a level and you work your way up. And that's just like with any type of media, getting on television, getting mentions. You have to start small and build up your repertoire, build up your profile or portfolio of, prior experiences, and then build on that next one. And then, you get to the big time. So I've been working on all of those things.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad I even know more, because we always stay so busy. You do interview, you do the show, then you have to go, and we've just been like so busy. I never got the chance to interview you. So this is awesome. This is really great.
True. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I mean, and so the main thing for me is that anybody can do it. You don't have to be, tall, blonde, you don't have to have long hair. You don't have to be thin, rich. You don't have to be those things in order to get that pie, that, the performance, the image, and the exposure. You really don't. It's really how you handle yourself every moment of the day, really, and not being anybody else but yourself. Authentic and intentional with everything that you do.
Yeah.
And that means a lot, because it shows people where you want to go. And you know, it's a good way to get there. You know, of course, I'm visualizing. I'm big on, you know, visualizing the feeling and feeling the feeling that I want to have. And a lot of the interviews and a lot of the things that happen and occur in my life, I visualized it and I felt the feeling of being there. And then it really happens. I mean, I call it like magic, but yeah, that's the way it feels, because it happens so quickly. And these are the things that I just want to share with other people. I want to share how, you know, I brought these things into my life, and you know, you've been a blessing to me to help me to get the word out.
Wow. I just know, you know who's really good that's between us?
Who?
Jason
Who?
Moore. Jason.
Oh, yes.
Jason kind of knows everybody. He's the one he gets connected a lot of us, and he really knows, you know, he knows a little bit of everybody, and
That's
he doesn't
funny you
mind
say
going
that.
out asking, and you know, he doesn't mind reaching out to people. And so that's how I actually connected with you, because I think he connected with you on LinkedIn, correct?
So let me tell you how I met Jason. So Jason had written an article that was in it's it's called, oh gosh, Indianapolis Recorder Business Magazine, and it's a business magazine here in Indianapolis. And I guess he got it out of syndication. And so I said, who's this Jason Moore? And because I wanted to get mentions in magazines too at that time, I reached out to Jason and I said, hey, I read your article. I really liked it. And so he said, hey, let's have a conversation. So we talked about an hour. We kind of stayed in touch. And then he introduced me to you. So that's how that started. I had no idea. Jason lives in, was it Washington, D.C.? He was, or on the East Coast.
I think he was on Ohio, probably, when he met you. Yeah, I mean, he was in D.C., but he's from D.C., but he was in Ohio for a while. And then he moved back to D.C. because he's a Howard grad and all. And
oh, wow.
He's back in the D.C. area now. But yeah, I met Jason through a lot of people, like the Urban Tech Fair. As far as the techie people, that like the top Blacks in tech are like all migrate there. So
yep. And that's how I was introduced to a lot of those people that you brought on to Beyond Talk. Yeah. And I'm like, man, there's a whole nother world out here. I had no idea.
Yeah.
There were some really sharp people, and I was able to interview them. So yeah, thanks to you.
Yeah, and we hadn't even really touched the tip of the iceberg, but it was, you know, an effort to also carry on Jim Newsom, because he was one who founded the Urban Tech Fair. I was the president, and so now, you know, I'm left to run it. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I even have a movement called History Among Us. Wow. A moment ago, history was made. We think and look to what we think are these grandiose things, or I had to be this grandiose person and all to be the history. But no, a moment ago, you just made history. Your neighbor, your colleague, your friend, all of these people are history makers. And when we look back, it's their stories.
Yep, that's true.
So don't miss out on the stories of the people you know.
And that's your
too. Kids, your grandkids, your neighbors are going to tell your story, because you took the time to write the book and to put it out there, and you know, somebody's going to read that, and that's going to be history. Oh, who was this person, and all about them. And these are the history makers. And believe me, most people, when they're making history, never thought they would be the history makers. They just, in a sense, put one foot in front of the other, made it through the day, and made significant strides that made it, you know, difference. But we're all making those differences, you know, our neighbors and all. And that, so every one of you guys, I think of History Among Us. So
I think that's cool. And the reason one of the things that I would, I told you I studied people. One of my speaking coaches, he had an opportunity to go to Maya Angelou's house and interview her along with Les Brown, the famous speaker Les Brown.
Mm-hmm.
But then I looked at Maya Angelou's life. I think she had met with, who was it, Richard Wright, or one of those writers, the authors. She knew Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. She had all of these relationships. And it's like, how was she able to do that? But I'm sure at the time, it wasn't like it is now, as far as, nobody said, oh, wow, he's this, famous writer and oh my God, he's this and that. No, they were probably just regular people at the time, and they built a relationship because they were at the same place at the same time, and they did things. They were in this circle, but it wasn't like it is now, where posthumously we're thinking of them as these larger than life figures. Not at all. So they they took advantage of those relationships, and they built upon those relationships. In fact, when I interviewed Dan Rather, I asked him who was his most fascinating interview, and what was the most interesting or memorable time that he had. And he mentioned the time that he interviewed, or he was with Dr. Martin Luther King. And I believe it was something that was going on, and he was there to interview Dr. King. And he said, whatever was going on, it was like a hurricane of people. People were yelling and around the Dr. Martin Luther King, and there was just chaos everywhere. And Dan Rather told me that Dr. King was calm. He was the calm, like in the eye of a hurricane. Everything else around him was chaotic, but he was calm. And I was like, wow, okay. So that made a huge impression on me, because at the time, who'd have thought? I mean, just a few more days and that he would have been dead. But he was very calm at that time. So you never know, and don't discount the person who is sweeping the floor. Don't discount the person who's driving your bus. Don't discount the person who's watching your children, because like you said, Jacqueline, those are heroes among us. They are the heroes, and we never know whose lives they've affected. And maybe they don't look like you think they should. Maybe they don't sound like you think they should. But those are the true heroes. And it's really important to document these things, because we need to leave a legacy. We need to leave a clue for our children about how people affected other people's lives. And otherwise, if there are no stories, they're lost.
And it speaks to who we are. I mean, it's just our culture. That's the griot. The griot is the repository of oral history. And in Africa, that's a royal family. And in Mali, the griot is so important. They are partnered with a Shataji, a warrior king. So our history, our legacy is worth protecting. And and we don't understand that. And it's the simplest thing, like Miss So-and-so tells this story and this and that. And I mean, like one of the funniest examples, I think it's two. One, the Alice Walker book is a character, The Temple of My Familiar. It's a character called Miss Lizzie. Lord, Miss Lizzie got so many stories.
about everybody.
Well, she talk about past lives. And she said, what she got all kind of stories why we got black, how we jumped in this muddle putt or something. And then the story why white folks don't love, because the sun, it just loves us so much, and they just so it's those simple things in those stories. Even though it's Alice Walker's fictitious writing, you can see Miss Lizzie. Somebody knows Miss Lizzie. Oh, yeah. And those stories do impact you. And then just, get funny is like in Living Color. When the woman talks about that I didn't say
you didn't hear from me.
Don't you talk about Miss Jenkins now.
But we're captivated by that. That's right. And those are storytellers. And so these are the people who have, and my grandmother and my aunt is one. My grandmother passed back in 2011, and my aunt is really, to my family, the only person who can articulate history of several family members over several generations. And I did not know these people that she talks about, but she explains them in detail. But unfortunately, I won't be able to share them with my son and my grandson and my daughter. I won't be able to share that because I don't know that history like she did, and it wasn't written down. And we have, a big box of hundreds of photographs of family members that I don't know. My aunt can say, oh, that's Uncle so-and-so, or that's Aunt so-and-so, or cousin so-and-so. She used to live here and they used to do this and do that. And I used to love to do this. She had stories for everything, but nothing is written down.
That's the oral history though, because there's somebody in the family. You wouldn't even be thinking about it, but somebody could be even the youngest one that hears and remembers all of those stories. And you are going to be surprised. They're going to come around. You know what? Well, Aunt so-and-so used to say this, and y'all, how you remember all of that? And if you think about it, there's a little person in the family that you didn't even realize was listening.
That's right. That's true. That's true. And that might be their 8-year-old gift. That might be their internal flame that is sparked, and they want to know their history, and it's they're driven to share it. It is a drive.
They automatically remember. They had this photographic memory. They remember the stories. They're elaborate when they tell it. The griot is the poet, the singer, the dancer, the musician. They tell a story all kind of ways.
Yeah.
So it's just as important, even though I do really feel it's important for us to write it down. And that's part of one of the things I want to do with, the poets, and make sure that they record their work, so that it's not, just the people who happen to see them in front of them. Because, I do believe we're all messengers.
Yeah, we are.
So, now you still didn't, but I did want to check to see if we had anybody that wanted to ask questions. You guys, if you want to ask questions, if you are watching live from the website, hopefully you are watching live from the website. It hasn't cleared on for me yet, but if you can put comments there, you can comment at the website. And of course, if you go on there, you can click on to Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube if you want to check out on another channel. But please post any comments or questions that you have. I forgot to record the phone number. Damn, what was the Zoom phone number in case you wanted to call in? But we do have, I know we have one visitor right here, Miss Stephanie Booker. I don't know if you can hear us now. I know you're muted out, but it'd be great to know if you have any questions or anything before we found out, because I'm still curious as to, what compelled you to write the book,
Okay, well, what compelled me? So, I have this flame, that's burning desire to be famous. But even more than that, when you were talking about the griot, and we're talking about the keeper of the stories and a history of a people, I had attended a funeral. It was my ex-brother-in-law's funeral, and there were only possibly 15 people maybe in the funeral home, and the pastor who was doing his eulogy had no idea who he was. Nothing. He knew nothing about this man. No one got up, not even his family stood up. Maybe one or two people stood up to talk about this man's life. And he was 40 years old. Imagine living a life and nobody wants to speak on your behalf. I thought that was the saddest thing ever. And I said to myself then, I said, look, I don't want to die without anybody knowing who I am. I'm going to write my own eulogy. And so after that, I said, how would I want to be remembered? How would people know that I was here when I'm gone? So I knew that, writing a book, and getting some visibility, getting in front of people, making a difference in other people's lives would be critical to writing my own eulogy. And so I wanted to build that credibility and authority so that I could have something to leave, something to give, something that people would say, hey, her life really mattered. She wrote a book. And so that was one thing. And then two, I wanted to share what I learned about getting, visibility and credibility and a little bit of, 15 minutes of fame. I wanted to show people who wanted to do those things like a really simple way. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It's consistency, it's, those connections, it's creativity, it's courage, those things that help that you need to put yourself out there and be known for something. And one thing too that I said I wanted to do, writing my eulogy, I wanted to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I made a difference in somebody's life. And so in 2009, I decided that I would become a kidney donor, a living organ donor. And it wasn't something that I said, oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to be a donor because I want to improve somebody's life. No, in 1998, I received a cornea. And I remember the feeling that I felt when I received something that somebody had given. A family had decided to give the eyes, tissues, and organs of their son who had passed. And so I was a recipient of that. And I said, wow, what a gift. Who would have thought to do that? I don't know if I would be able to do that. And so it took 10 years, but I said, wow, if I ever had an opportunity to do something, I would want to feel that feeling, that giving feeling. And so my cousin's husband, we weren't blood related and we weren't really close at all. He was going through dialysis, and I had no idea. But at the time, he had been going through dialysis for over 18 months, and he was on the waiting list for a kidney. And so his wife, my first cousin, put out on our family email list. She said, does anybody know anyone who'd be willing, who doesn't have high cholesterol, doesn't have high blood pressure, healthy and willing to donate a kidney? And it was sort of like lightning struck me. It was like, oh my God, that's for me. That's for me. And I wrote her back immediately, I'll do it. And, I had, of course, no idea all of the things that go into being an organ donor. I mean, months and months of tests, blood tests, psychological tests, CAT scans, being a match. All of these things had to go into, had to happen before even donating. And thank God, everything worked out. Everything, I told him, I looked him in his eye. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm thinking I'm going to do it. Here I am. I had no clue what I was going to do, but he said, are you sure? He looked me in my eye. I would never forget it. He said, so many people have said they would do it, but they never went through. Are you sure? And I said, well, yes. And it was at that time I knew I couldn't turn back, because this man is putting his trust and his life in me. And I didn't feel a sense of I didn't feel a sense of dread or heaviness. I felt a sense of responsibility. I felt a sense of honor. I felt like I was my life was valuable and had purpose at that moment. I felt a sense of honor. Yep, I hear myself again, because I knew that I had to give this man a good chance at life. And so I was really after 5 months, in October of 2009, we had the surgery, and it was successful. And he had 7 good years with that kidney, and he succumbed to a heart attack, but the kidney was still good. And so I'm really grateful that I had that, and I understand what it means, to give. Giving is so much better than receiving, so much. And understanding, that a book is a gift, a story is a gift. When you cook a meal, it's a gift. Even your presence showing up, it's a gift. And it's so important to give, and it means so much. And I'm just really grateful for that experience.
Awesome. Well, Miss Booker, do you have anything for us, Miss Stephanie Booker?
Evening. Faith, how you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You're a beautiful woman. I'm sorry I have my camera on, but I'm sitting here listening to your story. And I started writing my story not too long ago, and I keep procrastinating and put it off. So here is God coming to me through you. And certain things that you say is really, really touched me. And I'm like, stop. Because I was thinking, because my mom passed away and they came, what is that? The silent generation, when they're in their 70s, they don't share a lot and they keep a lot of things inside of the family. And I'm a curious person. I'm a baby boomer and I want to know things about my health or, whatever it may be, so I can pass it on my children. But I didn't have a lot of history. But thank God I had an elder cousin that I interviewed a little while ago, and they kind of put pieces together, but it's not a full story. So it is important to have your children know their history and understand where they came from and where they're going, and to pass it on to the generations to come. Somewhere along this last 30-year gap, it broke down. It really broke down. It's not really, people are not family oriented where we sit down at the table and see how each other are doing or willing to help, but it is very important. And I love your story. I really do. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. Since COVID happened, last year, my family, we were really big on family reunions. We had to cancel everything. We had those 5-day events, people come in from all over, and we have 5 days full of stuff. So that was devastating. Over 50 years, we've never missed a family reunion, an annual family reunion. So I said, well, I can't not have a way for us to communicate. So every Sunday, my family, we have a family Zoom call, and I invite everyone, but mostly my parents' generation. They're the ones that get on. They really enjoy it. Once they figure out how to get on Zoom, sometimes it takes a couple of months. That's the funniest thing. They'll sit on there and they don't know how to work the audio or the video, but they can hear. So, they'll do that for a little while, and then somebody has to go and show them. But when they do, they show up, and then the stories that we hear that they're telling they're priceless. I have a couple of uncles who just they're the pranksters, they're the jokers. I mean, they will spin some tales, but it's fun, and it's growing. We're closer now than we were before, because we're meeting every week, and we check in on each other every week. We're not strangers anymore, not somebody that we just see once a year. We see each other every week. no makeup, we see the backs of the houses and we're like, what y'all cooking for dinner, and so we're all sharing that way. And it's really an opportunity that you just kind of have to make people do that. You have to be the organizer. It's sort of like what Jacqueline's doing. She's the hub. I had to decide that I didn't want my family to be separated. I wanted a way for us to get together. And so I invested in the Zoom so that we could meet every Sunday. And I created something on Facebook, on our family Facebook page, to let people know, hey, come on Zoom 5:00 every Sunday, except I didn't do Easter. I took Easter off, but every week for an entire year. And as long as we can't meet, this is what's going to happen. We're going to meet every Sunday. And I think it's just a priority. A lot of the people in my generation haven't joined us, but I think that, as we go along and we're really siloed, we're by ourselves, there'll be a time where people have this yearning to be a part of something, to be a part of the family. And they'll want to know, just like you said, Stephanie, want to know who they are, where they come from. They'll have this emptiness. And then they'll say, oh, wait, I have family, but they don't really know me. But here's the key. You have to initiate. You have to go in and be the person who says, hey, I want to get to know you, or hey, let's meet up. Come on over to my house and eat, or let's play, go bowling, or whatever you can do. You have to initiate those relationships. The way I did it back in the early 90s, because I was, introverted and shy, but I wanted to find a way to connect with people. So I started sending thank you cards or thinking of you cards to my family members. And I learned calligraphy so that my gift was the calligraphy, so that their name would be really beautiful on the envelope. And on the inside, I just write cursive, regular cursive. But on the envelope, when you see your name written beautifully, it's like, oh, wow, that's my name. And so that got me a lot of engagement with those family members. They looked forward to my cards, even to this day. And it's been, almost 30 years, but even to this day. But I had to figure out a way to do that wasn't intrusive, that wasn't going to take, me away from my family too much, but it was a way to show them that I was thinking about them. So I would suggest, and that's one of my recommendations in schmingling, send a card to people that you're thinking, that you're wanting to get to know.
That's great.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Stephanie, she's a connector. She goes out and connect with people all the time. She definitely schmingles, but it helped her grow her organization.
But it's funny.
But I think we all do.
You say funny, you say I smingle. I just do what I do and I care and I give a lot and people gravitate towards me.
Yep. That's what it's all about.
Yes. Because sometimes when I'm doing outreach, I'll notice some of them clients just observing me because I pay attention to everything. And a guy who just comes out, but he never get anything. So I engaged in a conversation one day and he said, I seen a little spark of happiness and I just wanted to see what that was all about. I said, what? Yes, and I'm like, I really didn't see myself as being like that. But a lot of our, Jack, how I could get sometimes, but a lot of our veterans, they say they're dead inside. So me, I go out, try to have fun with them and, spark up some type of conversation or even ask them how they're doing. Genuinely, how are you doing today? A lot of people don't do that. They don't care. They just walk past them like they're nothing.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
That's huge. Even now, when you said he sees a little spark of something, sometimes when even I get in a state where I'm looking for that spark in somebody, it could be the way somebody smiles at or laughs, and if inside I'm just really just depressed or down, and I can see what it looks like, what a happy person, a whole person looks like, then that's like hopeful for me. And so I heard that when you told that, Stephanie, I heard that. It's like, oh wow, okay, so it does matter how you engage. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know what they need. And they're gonna take what they need from you. And that was that little glimpse of a smile. And he needed that to make it that next moment. And it's so important. And that's why, Maya Angelou says, it doesn't, people won't remember what you did or what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And so that's what that man's going to remember about you, Stephanie. That's huge. And Jacqueline, you talk about people, the heroes, Stephanie's the hero. And it's huge.
I don't look at myself as a hero because this is who I am, and I know I'm a blessing. I've been blessed through God to help people, because I came through a similar situation and I know how they feel and I know how it is, be on the other side or underserved or the lack of resources. And that's why I want them to know that it's somebody out here that genuinely cares about them. And I can't help everyone, but I'm going to do the best to help my immediate population.
And that's what your book is going to do, because you can't be at every place at the same time, but a book can do that. a book can do that. An article can do that. A post can do that. That just multiplies you. So when you finish your book, you'll be able to share it. Even before you finish a book, I was thinking about writing a book, but now I'm like, you know what? It would be easier and better and for me to go and just guest blog on different posts, because it would be on other people's audiences and be easier to get it out. It's not as intimidating as a book is. And it's really just quick and simple. Sometimes I can write things down. It doesn't have to be perfect. I've sent some things in to different high profile blogs, and they were submitted and published. So you might consider, if you have some information, if you have some tips, send them into those veteran articles that affect veterans' lives, or people who may be going through some type of trauma. You can multiply yourself that way. Get your work out, and you see how important it is. You do, and but you have to do it in bite-sized pieces. Sometimes the book is just too much, but if you get it out in bite-sized pieces, that's the start. And then you take that article or that post, and then you compile it into a book.
Yeah. How long did it take to write yours and get it published?
It took about 3-4 months. I didn't know how to start writing a book. And then I always have somebody, a coach. I always have somebody to help me. And the coach said, well, just write an outline. And I'm like, oh, like we learned in the 5th grade. Okay. Write an outline of your thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what I do.
It
I
wrote
like
itself.
writing in structure. So outlines are
and
awesome.
That outlines, that's how it happened. And then so my best friend, her name's Faith too, and we kind of worked off each other, and she wrote her book, and I was the one that encouraged her, but she finished hers faster. So she always had these 7 steps, and she has 7 steps, and she made it more of a little pocketbook size workbook, where it's you're praying and visualizing and making things happen. It's faith in action was her book. And so her book came out, and she wanted something that she could give people to put in their pockets, that was a step-by-step guide. And hers is only 35 pages. So it doesn't matter how long it is. It's just your thoughts on paper. But here's too, if you decide that, hey, I want to speak on this topic, you want to create a book that is easy to go on radio shows or podcasts or be interviewed about. sometimes it's hard to be interviewed on a fictitious book. It's really hard to do that. But if you have a how-to book, how to relate to our veterans, how to take care of them in a way that they will appreciate, those type of things, how-tos. You could write articles or books or compile your information that way, and you can take that on the road. You can sell it, you can talk to people, you can be a paid speaker, but you have to structure it in a way that can be instructional. That is, it's not that people can take bits and pieces. Like, for instance, in my table of contents, I put the table of contents in a way that if I'm being interviewed and somebody has my book, they can say, oh, well, tell me about networking. Or let's see, got my book right here. Well, tell me about what's don't break character, because I was an actress at one time. And so I put don't break character, meaning be consistent with who you are, be authentic. Don't be one way around a certain group of people and then a totally another way around another group of people. Be consistent, be yourself the whole time. And so people can ask me about that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And so when you're writing your book, if you're looking to speak to different organizations or take it further, you might want to structure your book in a way that will be able to be instructional and be able to speak on those different topics. And when it's already in your book, it gives you that much more credibility.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real good. Yeah, I said, well, the first book I'm going to write, even though people want me to write my story because it's been drama through the life, but I love giving. I have a friend, and we started this, and I noticed it's something I have been doing, but for a while, I started for every morning to just give some encouragement. And I have a saying, everybody knows. I say, phenomenal one. I call everybody phenomenal one. So I'm just collecting them. Sometimes they little posts, images. So I've just started to collect them, and I'm going to compile them in a little book. And it's just, may your day be as phenomenal as you. That's a sentiment beautiful. I like to share with people. Yeah. So it's just like all of my little, I guess, motivational sayings that I say to people, to start off your day. So I'm doing that as a collection. So you're inspiring everyone.
Lord knows this day and age, people need it badly. They really need encouragement, small little things, because it's like people are on the edge with this COVID and it's so many deaths. That COVID hit my family really hard. At least 10 people that I know in my immediate family, my cousins and friends.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And then it's just like every day, it's to the point where I'm numb. So, and a lot of my veterans, when they shut down the programs, a lot of them committed suicide because they didn't have access to their resources. So it's just kind of dark day that we trying to dig ourselves out of, and bring some life back to the community.
And we forget because we don't see. And now that we're all siloed in our own homes, there may be a whole week where I don't leave the house. And if I don't see you, if I'm not connected with you via LinkedIn or work, then I don't know. And so, out of sight, out of mind. And that's why your work, Stephanie, is so important, because they depend upon you. They depend on that light that you bring to them every day. And so it's what you do is so important. And I think that your writing will remind us all that, not everybody is dealing with this the same way. I know we have even people who aren't traumatized by, war or, in combat. People who have lived relatively safe, quiet lives are being, affected. So, putting your words and teaching and talking about your experiences and sharing your stories is important. And get that. There's this dictation that you can put on your phone. Just dictate a thought into an email and send it to yourself so that you'll have it. And then you do it every day, or do it every week, or do it on when you're inspired, and those thoughts become your book. Those thoughts become your topic, and that way you'll be able to share it easier and quicker, because people are waiting for what you have. And I'm talking to myself, because it's one thing to say, hey, I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to write an article, but it's a total nother different thing to actually do it. And so done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
So do it. It does not have to be perfect. There are editors, or even if you just wanted to submit some work to a publication, they have editors. They can correct things. The thought is what they want. Your experience is what they want. Your story is what they want, and they need that. Producers need fresh content every single day, multiple times a day. Even digital content is even more coveted, because they are 24/7. So they want your content. You just find the your niche, meaning you find maybe the psychotherapists, the hospitals, the doctors, the people who work with veterans, people who serve veterans, people who's are vendors to veterans. Those are the people that you want to reach, and with your stories, because they will be able to relate. But then also, mainstream publications need to hear your stories as well, because we don't see that, because it's not covered on television. They don't talk about that because they don't have somebody like you who's intimately knows these stories and these people who can relay these sentiments, just like you did. I saw the light in you. I see that you gave him hope.
Yes.
And that touched me. That pierced my heart, because that is exactly the way I feel sometimes. And so your stories are really important.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. And I told Jackie that's why I keep going down. And when I deal with these veterans, they're in some of the worst parts of Philadelphia. I mean, really bad. Opioid it just looks like Return of the Living Dead. I feel so sorry for these people. Yes, I can show you videos, and pictures. Like I went down there the other day and I fed them, and they had needles in their hand coming to get the food. And that's not
Ooh.
have my veterans living in this area. And I'm like, would you be able to survive in this area, in this drug infested area? I would not be able to. It's noisy all day long, and you don't understand certain noises are triggers for them.
Yep. Yep.
They need a little peace and quiet. So I don't know if Jackie mentioned it to you. Well, I'm trying to get them out of that area, at least maybe 10 of them, and bring them to University City area. You never know. We may branch out into the suburb area, because it sure helps me when I get away from everything, the hustle and the bustle. And it's just small things that they love, like a good meal, a good conversation, or like I said, how are you today?
Yeah.
Need anything?
Yeah.
Like I was in I had a feeding one day, and it was a lady in one of this programs that I went to, and you could tell she wasn't there. When you look in some of their eyes, you can tell whether you can approach them, whether you just leave them alone or not. So what I did, I said good morning to her, and she said that hi, but you could tell she wasn't there. So then I just kept observing, see what type of approach that I would do the next time, because I didn't want her to go out there sad. It was the holidays. So I came at her again and I said, are you going to hang around and eat with us? We're going to have a good meal. And she says, yes. And then I walked past her again and I looked at her and I said, I have PTSD too. And she looked at me in my eyes. I caught her eye. She gave me eye contact. And she looked at me and she was like, wow, somebody can finally connect with me. And we had a conversation, and she had a pie. She wasn't like real comfortable with interacting with everyone, but she was there. She wasn't in the space that she was before I had the conversation with her. So this is how
Powerful.
yes, I do. And like I study them just as like they study me. Because I went to a therapist one time and he had me filling out this grid every time I went in there. And I said, I don't he said, what don't you like about the sessions? And I said to him, I don't like filling out these forms every time I come in here. And I said, I know you're using it for income, because you got to have the data transfer to the government so you can get funded for your program. And he looked at me and I said, just like you psychoanalyzing me, I'm psychoanalyzing you too.
Yep.
Yes, you got my life in your hands and you up here. I don't want to be a part of an experimental study. And a lot of them, that's what they do, just to get funded. It's not fair to the veterans. Don't do that. Do it out of genuine concern. And I'm the
Yeah.
one that speak up and I'll say something. And a lot of times I get myself in trouble or people love me because I'm saying what they thinking and want to say. Yeah, you just got to treat them right. They fought for our country. I know they have issues, but they're human beings
Yep.
and they're my guys. And I got to stop saying my guys. I don't own those men, but I just care for them.
I think that's just a good lesson we can all learn is that sometimes we get so caught up in what we're doing, we just forget to say first, how are you?
Yes. How you feeling today? You all right? Take
Like
your
even
medication.
when you're networking on LinkedIn and all, it's like, oh, great to connect. Blah, 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 blah. This is a long spiel about the business. And you never took 1 second to say, hello, how are you? How's your day going? Like people just like, they just jump. And that means so much. But it really
That's
does. Just
true.
time.
And you have to understand how a lot of veterans' minds operate. Sometimes they don't process things fast because they're trying to wean out all the trauma that they experienced during war. So when you come at him like you have a person that's moving around real quick, or they might have some type of disorder where they can't sit still, that's a trigger for them, because too much moving or jittering or whatever, it's just a lot of different things. You got to be careful with them and never go up to them and just think it's okay to start talking to them. You ask, is it okay that we have a conversation? Or if they look at you and give you an indication that it's okay to come into their space. There's certain triggers certain signs that they give you. And I guess from interacting with them so long, I'm just accustomed of it. And I became an honorary veteran.
I think that's key because I didn't know, and I know there are so many people who want to help, but they feel that when they do approach, they approach in the way they think that you're supposed to approach. But you just taught me a huge lesson right there that we have to ask permission. We have to be respectful of what they're processing. We have to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. They're not gosh, I mean, they're not crazy. It's that trauma in their head. I know I'm traumatized. I was traumatized by something that was nothing compared to war. But every time I hear something or see something or smell something that reminds me of it, I feel like I'm kind of back into that space and nobody can see. It's invisible. It's in the past. But these are what the veterans are going through every single day. But you just taught me that, oh, okay, I have to understand that they're going through a process within their minds.
Yes.
And they can't accept anything else, any more stimulation. They have to deal with this. I have to ask if I can be welcome so they can open up that space of attention for me and understand that I'm not going to take any more of their energy that they're spending in their mind away from them. I may be a diversion, but I'm not going to be something that they have to act upon. I'm not going to be a threat. And so those are the things that you have to, you're telling me and you're teaching. And so many people want to know how to help, but we can't help if we don't understand that they have needs that are special. But we have to understand and we have to approach them in a different way. We wouldn't go to well, I know some people do go to Africa and the Serengeti and try take a picture with a hippopotamus and and expect them to take a
We know
selfie.
who does that, right? We know those people do that.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, we can't go into their environment and into their space and expect them to share our experiences. And we, so you just shared a moment of time of a veteran, and you made them human. You humanized them. And I think that is something that, you know, with your book, with your stories, with your speaking, will help so many people, not only the veterans, but the people who have a heart to help other people, a genuine heart, but they don't understand because nobody took the time to explain it.
Exactly. And Jackie was just telling me I should teach
Your
classes.
Steph. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Okay, Jack. I
But
hear
Steph,
it.
can you please take a moment? Yeah. Because we're about time to close out. But can you take a moment, because you just started? People don't really know who you are, so just explain who you are in a hurry, and you know, so the relevance of the veterans. Just explain who you are in about a hurry.
My name is Stephanie Booker.
Oh, we lost you. Okay.
Did you?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
My name is
We can
Stephanie
hear you now.
Booker, and I am the founder and executive director of AHARI. AHARI is an acronym for A Home is a Right. We provide permanent supportive housing to veterans that are at risk of becoming homeless or homeless, and provide supportive services to their families as well. For the last, since March of 2020, we have distributed about I say 24,000 food boxes throughout the community of Philadelphia and the surrounding areas, Delaware County, Bucks County, Montgomery County. We're in the process of building a development for our veterans in University City, where, you know, is a lot of people that are more in the upper class area instead of the medium, but we want to bring affordable housing to University City, where there's more resources for our veterans and they'll have a safer place to live. What else am I doing? I do a lot of things. I am a committee person for the 46th Ward, 23rd Division. I'm in the communities mostly, like 70% of my time, making connections, doing things to community. I have partnerships with Walmart's, Caring for Friends, Good 360, and I just give to the community. But I really need our development in a central location where I can do it more frequently and have a schedule. Jackie and I are getting ready to facilitate classes for the veterans that is called RAP, Wellness Recovery Action Plan. And RAP is a program where if you have any type of mental illness, whether you're a veteran, a person that has a chemical dependency, this program is set up for you to write your own treatment plan when you're in a healthy mind, opposed to a psychiatrist or psychologist telling you you need this kind of medication or you should do this kind of therapy. And it teaches them their triggers and how to combat their triggers and get to safety. There's a different form of treatment, and is usually taught from peer to peer, because veterans, well, anyone with a mental illness, a chemical dependency, are more receptive of a person that's actually walked in their shoes and understand what they're went through, what they're going through, and maybe give them some hope that is a better life than what they're currently doing. That doesn't give them to, I say, the comfort and the growth that they're looking for as a human and as a productive citizen in society. Any questions?
No, I just wanted you to give the audience a background, so people can understand, your conversation. So I just want to do some quick announcements before we close out. Tomorrow is our last day, and we have 3 wonderful things. So you need to come in. What are 2 things happening? Be here by 12 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central, and that is 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we kick it off with connecting people with art. So we're going to learn about Black art, the history of it, the significance of it, the culture of it. And so when we're learning about Black art, we're going to be learning about ourselves. And so Mercer Red Cross, he's coming to us. He is a co-founder of October Gallery. He and Evelyn Red Cross founded October Gallery back in the 80s. And their big following are baby boomers. October Gallery has about a list of 30,000 of baby boomers. And they really created a movement back in the 80s with Black art. It used to call Black Stream. And so instead of our art being mainstream, we created our own stream. And so they're in the second edition of a book called Connecting People with Art, Contemporary African American Art, Volume 2. And it's a real historical look at art, types of art, significant people, people have been through October Gallery. I actually met Jill Scott years ago in the 90s when I was running the gallery on Lancaster Avenue. And she did poetry. They had a poetry thing, and then she'd come in and spit her poetry, her and Trapita Mason. Who knew? Again, history was made a moment ago. I didn't know that was Jill Scott in the 90s. Before she broke, before Black Lily came super hot, she was doing her poetry, going spot to spot. But yeah, so many people have come through there, and it's the connection of art and importance. And what is really important to us, if you go through these things, when we started with our NFTs to tomorrow, we still need to be owning some of our own platforms that we don't own, which still allows us to be, discriminated against and not have true ownership and a voice. And when we're talking about our art, artists are the storytellers and the keepers of our culture. If we don't own the art, we don't own our stories. We don't own our legacies. And they can choose to tell whatever they choose to tell our people, and we'll believe it. Yeah. And so come listen to art. One of the oldest African-American art galleries in the country, but yet they one of the first ones to really maximize the use of the web and, to still curate. So we want to see how we can maybe position October Gallery, because of its long standing, to actually become that auction house so that we have some control over our art. No more artwork being sold by major celebrities buying artwork for 7-8 figures, and not one dime of it comes back to the African-American community. So those are the conversations we're having, especially our boomers, and, they really want to leave that legacy. And then we're going to finish off everybody, lottie-dottie, and everybody bring your family. We started it off with forgiveness. You heard that video, and we was all up here just bopping. But the guy's named Hezekiah. He is a prolific producer, MC, singer, songwriter, musician, and he forgiveness is part of his latest album, The Universe Does Not Reward Fear. And so the song is forgiveness, but when he did the video, he used his entire family, everybody, girls on the drums, his grandma playing, they're all family members. So you're going to get a free copy of the song when you come. You register, you get a free copy of the song, and then he's going to show you how you do your own family video. And we're going to launch a contest. So you take your video, you put it up, give people to vote, and I have a full DNA ancestry kit. The person whose video gets the most votes over the month of May, the person with the most video gets the most votes. On June 19th, we're going to declare the winner. And it's from CRI Genetics. Yeah, it's a family DNA ancestry kit. So to do the paternal and the maternal and the health. So full kit workup. So make sure you be here at 2 p.m. Eastern time and come and learn how to do your own family video. All right. So, and that's it. So we're gonna get our goodbyes from Faith. Make sure you get the book. So where can we get the book? I know I'm getting my copy, and I saw it's available on Kindle as well.
Yep, it's available on Kindle. They always have specials. It's also available on Amazon, so you can purchase the soft cover from Amazon, and you can download it on Kindle. So Schmingling, the art of being well connected through blatant self-promotion. I just want to thank you, Jacqueline, for inviting me on. This is so fun. I didn't think I'd have that much to say. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much. This is I need to write another book. Oh my gosh. And thank you, Stephanie, for sharing as well. This was fun.
Great. You want to give your website, Faith? And I mean, are you doing consulting right now still?
Yep. So right now I'm preparing to do more articles, as I mentioned, blog posts, but you can connect with me at faithmckinney.com. It's just my name, faithmckinney.com. If you want to send me an email, it's faith@faithmckinney.com. I got room now. My emails were bouncing because I had so many.
Okay.
I'm so full. So I can get them now.
Up again?
Okay.
Hey, can you hold the book up again?
Sure.
I found it.
Schmingling. Yep.
Yeah. If you go to blackbookfairlive.com, you'll see all about Faith, and you can also reach out to her from there, and it'll get you to the website as well as her. If you click on her name, it'll take you to faithmckinney.com. And yeah, and Faith, after checking everything out, Noah, because I'm at this point now, the doctor does not want to heal thyself.
Doctor never does.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. So yeah, I'm going to reach out to you to help me with the media branding as we move, we phase into our streaming channel. And so I definitely especially after listening to today, I'm like, yeah, that's some real stuff I really need to learn. So yeah, so I'm going to solicit your services so that I can grow my brand and become present for the media, and then also know what I want to do for all of our shows. So
yep.
I thank you every so much, and we got to send out some love and a shout out to our producer, James Jackson of Light Thief Productions. So thank you so much, James, as well. We're having a theater festival here in Philadelphia, and James works a lot with the theater, so he ran from doing some plays. Right now, instead of being everybody coming in the theater, they're streaming the plays. So all our plays are being streamed, and so he ran from doing a couple shows and just ran over here real quick. So we want to just thank him and just for being so diligent and really helpful throughout this whole process. So it is almost 11 o'clock at night, our time, 10 o'clock, your time, Faith. And
no, I'm on 11 o'clock too. Yep, we're on
you're
11
time. Okay, you're Eastern. Okay, all righty. Well, for our West Coast and them.
Thank you.
So,
you're welcome.
Yeah, great. So it's Rena and them, they're only 8 o'clock, so it's so early. But I do thank you, and it has been a wonderful interview, and I love learning. So this has been great. And so just follow Faith, and we can see what she'll be doing next, because she does TV and everything, and she's all around. So right now you're working on a major project, right, with the post office, correct?
Yep. We're improving all the time. So we have this major project that I've been working on for a little over 4 months with them. And it'll be launched soon. We're making major changes so we can deliver for America.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. We need it. So everybody, thank you. Good night. And we're gonna roll out. Just put on our forgiveness video so everybody remembers to be back here tomorrow at 2. And that'll be great. Thank you, James.
Without forgiveness, we as the descendants of slaves wouldn't have been able to persevere. Forgiveness breaks the shackles.
Forgiveness is a strength. And I learned that from an Arabic phrase, La hawla la quwwata illa billah. Quwwa being strength. There is no might and no power except with God.
Forgiveness, why? To free yourself most of all. Allow you to move without hang-ups. Forgive to just let go. Forgive to grow. Forgive and watch your spirit flow free. Forgive and release the other person. You don't have to talk or deal with them. Just forgive them. And most of all, forgive yourself. Peace will flow.